Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Tea With. Tonight, we are going to be speaking with the hosts of the Educated Actor podcast. They are Caroline Xique, Matt Belnas, and Natalie Cruz. Welcome, all three of you, to our Tea With this evening. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's good to see ya.
Good to see you too.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. So, we always start with a little bit of a what sort of
icebreaker?
Icebreaker. Thank you. We like the one. What are you currently obsessed with?
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Matt's excited. Go ahead.
What am I obsessed with right now? I have been binge watching Schitt's Creek. That's like right at the top of my head, and I've been trying to finish the seasons, but I decided to go back from the start because we have time or whatever. So I've been just like on a go to work, come home, grab like literally snacks. There's like snacks. I'm looking like at my floor with bags of chips and just junk by my couch and watching Schitt's Creek. That's what I'm obsessed with right now.
Nice. Awesome.
Excellent show.
So good.
Kato, you want to go next?
Yeah, right now, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm obsessed just thinking about watching it. But the newest season of The Crown, I can't wait to watch it because I loved seasons 1 through 3. So I'm anticipating it, and I need to find the time to watch it by myself to like really like get the full thing, not like do it while I'm doing something else. And right now I've been jamming out to the Calvin Harris remix of SZA's The Weeknd. Like anytime I'm in a bad mood, it's like a funk remix, and it's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. Everybody should listen to it. It's a very good like feel good song, especially when you get out of work. So
nice. Awesome.
I always
Very
think
cool.
that. It's like the soundtrack for your life, right?
it's the soundtrack for my life in a pandemic at 23 years old, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Natalie?
So I've been meaning to actually watch both of those shows. Those have been like waiting, they've been queued up. But currently I feel slightly embarrassed to admit this. I've been binge watching and slash rewatching Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. It's usually like it's a car crash of just trash. And
you should not be embarrassed by that at all. That is amazing.
I don't really watch a lot of reality TV shows, but like when this one came out, I think I was in high school, and I remember even then like being like 16 and thinking like, wow, what are these people thinking? And now I'm like, oh god, this show didn't age well then, and it for sure has not. It hasn't aged well at all, but it's just kind of like it's just a fulfilling hate watch. So that's anything. It's been what I've been doing.
Yeah, sometimes you need to see something else that makes you feel like, oh, I've got my life together, even in like the midst of a pandemic and like civil unrest. But my life now seems really together.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now I feel like very intrigued. Like I might try to go watch that just so I can like have something to hate watch.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Awesome. So y'all are from the Educated Actor. Can you tell us what is the origin story? How did this all happen and come together?
Natalie.
It's totally Natalie.
So the Educated Actor kind of came about around the time that I was getting ready to graduate. I had been having conversations with like Matt and Gato and like other friends, and around 2016 was when I was like getting really into podcasts. And I was like, well, you know, I feel like I could do something like this. And then I started researching ones about actors or acting. And at least at that time, there wasn't anything that I saw that was like what I was having in mind. Something from the perspective of actors that are just barely, you know, getting started in the industry, or like those that are like considering that as like, you know, their career path. You see plenty of podcasts about with like successful actors being interviewed, but not like while they're like kind of in the trenches, so to speak. So I wanted to kind of do something like that and kind of log our journey as we're going through it. And then that's kind of how The Educated Actor was birthed into existence.
So if that was how it was birthed, how did you find these three, or as I like to call organic beings, to come together to be the parents of this baby?
Well, Matt was the first one that I talked to about it. And he was my roommate at the time. He was actually the one who came up with the name. I always credit him. Like he gets fully the credit for the name of The Educated Actor. Right. And then sometime after, when we like started talking, I then moved on to new roommates, and Gato was eventually one of them. And so then we really started talking about it, and we just decided that like it was a good fit. Like we met up at one of our favorite Long Beach coffee shops, Portfolios. Shout out to them. And kind of we just started having long, extensive late night talks there about doing this. Matt had already graduated. He graduated the year before me. And then Gato was still in school. I think you were still a sophomore, maybe?
Yeah, I was a sophomore. And so part of the idea was that because I was younger, it would be helpful to get the experience of someone who was still in school, someone who was leaving, and someone who had already left.
Yeah.
It's like the three beds with Goldilocks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tried to cover all educated grounds.
Yeah.
Yes. So The Educated Actor, where did that name come from, Matt? Like what sparked that thought for you?
Ooh, you gotta help me, Natalie. Because I just remember being in my room, which was the living room, and Natalie would go through my fake door. And like, she like came in and she just we were talking about the podcast, and she was like, she was telling me the idea and how like she wants it from the perspective of educated actors, like actors with degrees, and what do we do with them, and like what that looks like. And we're like joking around. Am I right? Like, am I on the right page here? Like we were joking around. We're talking about like, what are we going to do? Like talk, like, what's the T with us or something? Or she was talking about educated, and there's like actor. And then I was like, and we're talking about gossip about things that happened in the theater or whatever, like whatever the subjects we were talking about. And then I put it together, and then I was like, tea. I'm like, I go like educated actors, tea time. Oh, like tea, like the tea, like what's the tea with something? And we just kept saying tea and how it worked. And we were like, TEA. Well, because you said educated actors, and we're like, well, if we want to spill the tea on whatever's happening, just add the. We're like the educated actor, and it was a lot of just pish posh talking at each other and throwing ideas around as I'm laying there in my bed. And because I didn't even know, like, I didn't even think Natalie was going to ask me to be a part of it. And as roommates, we would talk about just our individual projects that we would do. And so I'm over here in my bed, I'm just like, yeah, like that sounds fine. Like educated. Yeah. The educated actor. And she was like, wait, I think that's it. And I was like, yeah, go with that. That's great. And then I think that's how I got my ticket in to be like a host, a part of the show. So thank you, Natalie, for
one of those like serendipitous late night conversations.
Late afternoon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. I got out of class, and then I kept on like thinking about this, and I'd been thinking about it, and pretty much what Matt said, we were just talking. And then it was like maybe like 5 minutes into the conversation, he just like said that, and I was like, that's it. There's nothing else. It's The Educated Actor. We nailed it. We're done. We're done here.
That's how we collaborate. We just keep talking. and just word vomit everything. And then that's the secret to our success, guys. And then we're like, take notes. Carol's really good at keeping those kinds of things. She has a good memory of the things we talk about. So, yeah.
So now that you've formed this and you're working together and you've just launched your second season, what is your hope for The Educated Actor? What's your mission? What is it that you hope to bring to the world?
So what our mission is, very tentatively, is we're trying to continue the ongoing conversation with emerging LA actors, trying to figure out the business. So it's, I guess to put it in a broader sense, we're trying to continue to learn outside of a classroom setting, holding each other accountable, to continue to ask questions, as well as keep ourselves accountable to go out and audition and find things that work for us, not only as artists, but as like content creators. Like, what are the things that keep us interested? What type of art is being explored, especially right now during the pandemic? What's going on right now? How do we keep up with the business other than just what we were taught or just what we thought the business was in the first place? So yeah, trying to make sense of it all and speak to professionals who have a different idea than what we learned, or to learn more deeply about the things we did learn. So it's a lot of questioning, a lot of ongoing conversations with artists that are up and coming, as well as professionals who might give a very different perspective.
So if somebody was going to tune into your podcast, what type of topics have you covered in the past? Do you hope to cover? And is there like a particular reason why this podcast is important and why they should listen to y'all?
I'd say for like, we want to just unveil as many stories as we can from so many different artists, stemming from the theater. And what you can get from us is just that, because we know in this business that there's no one right way to do what we want to do. And so by us just asking those questions and finding those stories from all these individuals of all these different artists, we just hope that we're opening up, a conduit, I guess, for our listeners to just hopefully get something that inspires them and help them form their own path from all the different stories that they hear. And maybe that's how they get their start, or how they steer their career in a different direction, or something like that. So we just want to make all these stories available to them, and through our conversation, hopefully inspire their careers.
Yeah, and I think we do a really good job of kind of combining both the kind of classical training that we all got. We've all been trained in Chekhov and viewpoints, as well as Meisner and Hagen. And so bringing those conversations in, as well as bringing in the perspective of us three as people of color, and questioning those, because that was something we weren't taught quite as much. And so we have covered at the beginning of the pandemic, we're like, what is theater going to look like? And we talked about this with our mentor, Hugh O'Gorman, which I know April knows. Hugh's great. And so we talked about like how Chekhov would be really great to study right now while we're all staying at home doing nothing. And we also covered a whole series on theater education and why some of it is inherently anti-Black, which was a really fun episode that I felt personally attached to, as well as content creation. At the beginning of our kind of project of The Educated Actor was a lot of stuff like how to handle with rejection, which are great things, but we have now kind of rooted that conversation in what's going on right now. And that is where the next season is going. We're talking about pandemic art and what people are doing right now, how film sets are staying safe, how to take care of yourself as an artist during the pandemic. So that's what people can look forward to this next season.
Awesome. Very cool. So in that vein, how have the events of this year, the myriad of events that have happened this year, how have they affected the podcast and your upcoming season?
I would say that we were kind of Zooming it before it was even a thing, because of the fact that in December of last year, I moved back home for financial reasons. And then COVID kind of forced me to stay home a little bit longer. So we knew, and I discussed this with like God on Matt, that I'm like, look, I think I'm gonna have to go home for a bit, but I still want us to do the podcast. And I know that there are ways of us still committing to doing this. We're just going to have to use other like digital assistants, which is like where like Zoom and Google Hangouts kind of came in. And then with the pandemic and everything else that's happened this year, it's definitely shifted our priority. And like Otto was saying, it's like we're wanting to focus in more on relevant issues and things. And it was fun to do all the like general relatable things for like all actors. And I think that in time in the future, like we'll revisit those things, but we really wanted to just be up with the times and not shy away from those things. So it's definitely shifted our focus, but if anything, I think it's enriched us and kind of helped us out a lot.
Yeah. So how has the pandemic then affected you in your own personal work and your identity as artists?
Oh, gosh.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh my
COVID.
Lord.
I really do. I hate COVID. But it's no excuse, I guess you could say, because on the other flip side of it, at the start of it all, not really knowing like how to really navigate through COVID and what that looked like. I'm like, okay, cool. This is the start of it. I was like, this is a good time to really like take advantage of like the literature and really practice and just do a monologue or something in the house and just really like sit down and like get into the details of like building you up as your own, as an artist and as a business and such. And so I was starting that, and then seeing how just with COVID, it's just so up and down and unexpected, and it goes through so many turns. Like work has just eaten me up. I am just like buried in work, and I think these two they're like, what the hell is he doing? Because that's every time I'm late to something, or I'm not doing any, or like I'm not as involved. I'm at work. I'm doing this at work. I'm doing this for work. And like in my head, it sounds like a huge excuse, but it's just like, oh my gosh. So I'm in this artistic depression for sure, because I don't feel like I've been able to exercise just writing. And when I write, my brain's fried and I just writer's block. And then I'm trying to see what acting is like in COVID. What do these acting classes look like? And I'm at work, or I'm literally sleeping on the couch. And so those are the things that I'm trying to work through and overcome, and just, like let my fuel and my passion and everything get me over that hump. But I'm just like, there's just a lot that I'm trying to keep up to date with for work because of what I do, and it's a lot. But yeah, artistic depression right here, guys.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Personally, the beginning was difficult. I fortunately found a job, which only happened because of the pandemic, but I watch a couple family friends' like kids while they remote learn, which is just the worst thing. Trying to get a 6-year-old to sit in front of a computer screen to learn first grade is awful. I feel so bad for them. But at the same time, it's kind of crazy because I never would have imagined myself being in the childcare realm of things. So I've learned a lot about patience, and this pandemic at the beginning was really, really, really a lot harder for me. I think now I've kind of learned how to slow down. I'm starting to do therapy, which is something I had always talked about doing and never did. And now I've started with one of those apps, and it's helping a lot. And I'm getting back into learning. Like, I realized that when you work so much, you just kind of don't want to even think about anything else, and just go home and sleep. And now I sit with kids and learn. And so now I'm like, man, I really want to read some books. And I haven't read on my own in such a long time, just for the hell of it. And I used to love reading. So now I've been getting back into my Kindle and reading stuff about history. my other obsession right now is Malcolm Gladwell. So I've been listening to everything Malcolm Gladwell because he's brilliant.
Very nice.
I love him. I'm literally like, I'm obsessed with him right now. It's crazy.
What one are you reading right now?
Right now, well, I was listening to revisionist history, but right now I'm reading Reaganland by Phil something, and it's just talking about how like when Reagan politics was a thing, it's very parallel to what happened in the 2016 election, where there was like a divide in the Democratic Party, at that time as well, and how that led to the Republicans winning. The whole "Make America Great Again" slogan started with Reagan, and it makes so much sense that it happened. My mind was blown, but I was just like, man, I love history. I don't know why I stopped reading about history, why I stopped learning about history, and it's probably because of the whole, school. What's it called? Kind of like feeling like I have to read something just to read it, not because I was actually interested in it. So since I've been listening to Malcolm Gladwell, I'm like, I want to think like this dude. Like I want to be able to make those connections. So I've been thinking about, I've been having a little book list that I need to get through, but it's been like a blessing and a curse. It definitely helped me slow down and think about the things that I need right now. And then at the same time, it's really, really hard to be away from my family. I'm a very family oriented person. So it's super tough. I really miss them.
Natalie, what about you?
I mean, I feel like I relate to everything that God Matt has said. Like I feel like I've definitely been on a roller coaster, especially just because it's like even before COVID. Like I said, I had to move back home, and kind of that was just like a hit to the ego for sure. The feelings of failure were like, enormous. But with this podcast and with like other projects that I've been able to create because of this, like circumstances have definitely been like helping me out. And so I think it's just been trying to find that balance. And the same thing though too is I think it's like for many creatives, or at least I know like when like Matt and Gato and I have talked about this stuff, is like we feel the need to like constantly be like output kind of energy. And especially because I'm older than both of them, I've kind of had this like constant like inner battle and anxiety of feeling like, oh, I'm already too old. I've wasted too much time. Like I'm not gonna get there. And so I've definitely like tried to do as many things as possible. And then like the burnout and like the spiral has been like real hard. So trying to kind of learning how to slow down, and like that it's okay to like not do anything. Like you not doing anything is totally fine. But again, it's still like a day-to-day thing. And therapy has also been another thing that I've been planning on doing as well, because I'm like, you know what? This girl could use a little assistance from time to time from an actual professional. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I like the refreshing part of all of this is knowing the fact that it's like you can still do things, you can still create, but then like it's also like that feeling of like not having that core group that like, the group of people that I knew that I could always rely on for like creative support isn't the same. Like I love my family dearly, but like their minds and my mind work totally differently. So it's been a bit of a struggle, but I'm trying to take it one day at a time and cut myself some slack from time to time. So yeah, that's pretty much it where I'm at.
I think what's really cool about the whole pandemic, though, at least for us, is that it gave us this new kind of this new need for something that isn't physical as far as the arts. And we were already doing podcasts, and podcasts have kind of blown up now because what else are people going to do while they're staying at home? which has been really great. And it's given us a lot to talk about from the perspective as newcomers. Because something that we've talked about before is, this hasn't been done before. Like we haven't had to, there has been a pandemic before during theatrical time, so to speak. But this is the first time it's happening within the last 100 years. And there's this new added component of technology. And so how are we going to talk about it in this new season? And as the young folks who are living through this and kind of paving the way for what theater may or may not look like after this, how do we talk about that in a relevant way and in a way that it's really going to be teaching more than it is about us learning something, because this hasn't been done before. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you all
charting
for being
new territory for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you all for being super candid about that. We really appreciate that, and all of that is so real. And I'm sure all of the people watching us are like, that's hitting the feels all over the place. I'm definitely feeling it over here. So thank you for that. So as we wrap this up, what would be your final thoughts on this discussion? If there's one thing that our viewers could take away from this, what would it be?
Keep going. Just keep going and don't stop. No means next opportunity. And, the dream stops when you stop. So just keep going and it'll all be okay. If your mind's there, you got it.
That's an excellent quote. No means next opportunity. I love that.
That's what I tell myself on those things. So, and it has helped. It has helped. I will tell you.
I guess what I would say to young artists, especially, is keep learning, keep giving yourself opportunities to learn and just do things. Like, I wish I had the same stamina I did when I was in college and I was just outputting everything all the time. And now I don't, because nobody's giving me deadlines. But literally, even if you think it's shit, just do it. Just make it. And then after the fact, you can criticize yourself all you want. But like during the thing, just like do it, be in the thing. And then you'll just know that the whole self-doubt, it's part of the process. You don't ever get to a point where you're like, I'm very confident in what I'm doing. It's not how that works. Just do it. Keep doubting yourself and get past that threshold and then criticize later.
Yeah, I just piggybacking off that, like whatever your impulses are, just like go for it and try. I mean, with this podcast, like we literally, like this has really been truly 4 years in the making. Like, yes, we're on to starting season 2, but this thing has been brewing for that long. And there were definitely some hard times. We all have gone through tough things and we're questioning whether or not this thing could survive. But like, we all trusted in the fact that it's like, there was something here. And I think though, like what we've all kind of touched upon, it's just like, we saw a need to give voices to people who are not traditional in the mindset of like the types of actors and people that you usually see. And so I think that it was just important for us to just keep fighting and keep going through. And so if there is anyone watching this or those that are watching this, just like, I would say, just try it. You really never know. And I mean, God knows our first like several episodes are real rough, but like we stuck with it. Like we were recording this on my iPod Touch. That's how we be recording this. So it's like we've definitely evolved and it's taken time, but like if it's something that you really want, you need to just say, I don't know if you can curse on here, but F it and just like do it.
I love that. Talking about like trust, like trusting yourself, trusting your impulses, trusting your artistry, trusting that there'll be another opportunity down the road when one seems to close its door, and to highlight what we're not seeing, the non-traditional, and jump before you're ready, right? Like you may not feel ready, but jump anyway and go for it. For all of you out there who are listening in, if you haven't heard the Educated Actor podcast, go and listen to it. I found that this has been a touchstone for me right now during the pandemic, and my examination of bias and as an educator, as a performer, and y'all have done such a fantastic job of discussing these issues to pick them apart and examine them and do it in a way that's so accessible. And so thank you all for doing that. And if y'all out there who are listening, if you haven't heard, please, please, please go listen to The Educated Actor because they have so much to offer you. Please go listen. And we are also very excited because we've decided to come together to do a giveaway. We're going to be partnering to give away a book to help you with all of these things, to trust yourself, to jump, to maybe think about your art right now in a new and different way, and to like pioneer what's right for you in your artistic place and your creative chaos, which is generally how I live, is like chaos. So I started just calling it creative, and let's leave it at that. And right, like
I love that.
The world is chaos. As artists, our brains, we don't think linear in a linear way. Like our brains, that's like how we go. That's why we're artists. That's how we work. So the creative chaos of our lives. It is called The Creative Habit by Twyla Tharp. It is an excellent, excellent book. Now there is a way that you can enter to win this, and Educated Actors, would you like to tell our viewers how they can enter to win this book? You're on.
All right. Okay, cool. Awesome. So you enter on our Instagram. Follow both Thumbprint Studios Chicago and us, The Educated Actor. You're going to like our giveaway post, as well as tag a friend that you know loves performing or loves theater. And you get to receive an entry for every person you tag. So the more friends you tag, the better your chances are of winning. So you get a free book, y'all. Like that's good stuff. You could read it during the pandemic. I know you got time. We're shutting down again here in California, so.
Yeah.
You're also. Yeah. And the winner will be announced by Insta Live next Friday night, December 4th. So tune in to watch our live drawing. In addition to that, Educated Actor, who's your guest on your first episode of the season?
Glad you asked.
Oh, right back at you. It's Thumbprint
Studios. Thank you guys so much for kicking off our season with us. Guys, listen to it. It's just all the good things. All the good things.
Yes, I listened to it today. Thank you, Caro, for your lovely editing skills on that. It's a fantastic episode. I'm very excited about it. So that will be posted shortly. And I did put the website, anchor.fm/the-educated-actor. But you can also find the podcast on Apple, Spotify, most other places where you can find podcasts. So please go listen. So that's our little plug for that.
So thank y'all so much for being here with us and sitting down on a Friday night to have a drink with us and to talk about, your podcast and who you are and what you do and why you do what you do and how that's all shifted and changed during these crazy times. And for all of you at home, I guess we're all technically at home, but for all of you who are not currently being seen on screen at the moment, who are here with us, thanks for being here and for listening. And next month, so we always do something called Thumbprint Reads and Listens, or as we affectionately call it, TRL. All of you oldies out there, I know this reminds you of something else because it does for me. And this is a way for us to explore works by marginalized groups. So BIPOC artists, LGBTQIA, disabled, femme, female, non-binary, and to expand the canon from what you got when you were in your educational programs. And this upcoming month, we will be discussing Abraham's Daughters by Emma Goldman Sherman, and that will be on December 7th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Central Time. This is a free event, so please come and join. It's for anyone who is a theater maker, theater lover, or just enjoys literature and wants to learn about some art and have a discussion with some folks. So that is our upcoming event.
And next week's Tea With will be with D-Nick, the Microphone Misfit. He is a Chicago hip hop artist. And we will be talking about self-producing your own music. So it should be very, very cool. We will have details up on our social media and our website this coming week. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, The Educated Actor. And we hope to see you all next week.
Thank y'all. This is so much fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.